Hey friends, happy Thursday. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. This week, I would like to focus on something that is really important, but probably something that some parents may not even think about, or they may not know the difference between the terms, or they may think the terms kind of all mean the same thing. So I did want to define the terms bed sharing, co-sleeping, and room sharing, and why this is actually really important for you to know. You may think that they're just terms and they're just whatever, they don't matter, but they actually do. And we will get into that right away, why it's important, and I want to define them for you so you know the difference between all of them. So, so let's start with bed sharing. What is bed sharing? And bed sharing is the practice of sleeping in the same bed as one's child. So you're sleeping in the same bed as your child. They don't have their own sleep space. It's exactly how it sounds. Uh, I I actually did bed share with all three of my kids. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't have done that. Especially with my son, because that actually set him up for horrible sleep, and it made I had to actually sleep train him. And luckily the girls, I didn't really bed share with them for very long, but Gunner I did bed share for, I think he was a little over he was around 10 months. um, and then I had to quit because it was exhausting for me, it was exhausting for him, it caused multiple wakes up, multiple unnecessary feeds after 6 months old. And it was just, I just um, wish I wouldn't have done it with any of them. But, anyways, the main reason why this is an important term to know, and probably the most important term out of all of them that you need to know, is because it is the most unsafe one out of all of them. Luckily for me, nothing happened to my kids. But that is not the case for many families out there. And what I'm talking about is SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And that can happen from bed sharing. It's actually unexplainable, but this is what we would assume happened. Bed sharing is one of the things that can happen from SIDS. So, no judgment here, but I am a sleep coach and I follow the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines, and their guidelines is to not bed share. So, when I'm working with families as your sleep consultant, I will not recommend bed sharing, and I will not work with you if that's what you're going to choose to do. Not only does it make sleep training extremely hard, but it is also very, very unsafe. So I definitely would not recommend that or suggest that to any parents that I work with. Um, and some of the reasons why it can happen is you could accidentally roll over onto your little one and not know it, especially if you are using any drugs or alcohol. It can make it very likely that you can do that. Also, your little one could slip in between the mattress and the wall or any other thing that's hard, and they could suffocate. Also, the blankets being pulled over the baby's head by accident could also suffocate them. So there's lots of different ways that can happen. So it is very unsafe, and I don't recommend it to any of my families. So that's what bed sharing is. You're in the same bed as your child. They do not have their own sleep space. You guys share a bed together. Okay, and then the second term that you should know is co-sleeping. Co-sleeping can be some people can confuse it with bed sharing, but actually co-sleeping can mean bed sharing, but it can also mean room sharing. It's basically an umbrella term that we use to talk about bed sharing and room sharing. That's what co-sleeping is. It does not mean sharing the bed with your little one. It just means either, sorry, it doesn't just mean that. It means either bed sharing or they're sleeping in your room in their own space. But uh, it can also mean, I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure most of you have heard of an open barrier basket that's on the side of your bed. So it's like their own sleep space, but the side that goes onto your bed is open. And they can actually roll into your bed from that. So it's actually still not safe to have that open barrier basket. Um, Obviously, it's safest to have them in their own sleep space and have a barrier there. All right, so that brings us to the next one, room sharing. This is also one of the most important terms you need to know because it is the safest one. This is when your little one sleeps in their own crib, their own bassinet, their own play yard. They may still be in your room, but they have their own sleep space, like their crib. So this is the one that is most recommended. It is the recommended one from the AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics. And this is the one I would recommend to all the families that I work with. It is the safest, is the easiest one to sleep train, even when they're in your room. And the AAP actually advises that your little one sleeps in your room for the first year of their life. That is the safest way to go, but at least the first 6 months. The first 6 months is after they get to around 6 months old, they're starting to get less likely to have to die of SIDS or anything like that. So they do recommend a year, but 6 months at the best, at the very least. And once they're that age, you can move them and their crib into their own room, and you can definitely sleep train them in their own bed in their own room. That is the easiest way to do it. And I do recommend families do that after their little one is 6 months old. Um, well, actually, 6 months to a year, whatever they feel more comfortable with. And yes, you can sleep train with your little one in the same room as you. It is a lot easier to sleep train when they're in the same room than if they're in the same bed as you. Honestly, sleep training when they're in the same bed is possible, but it is very, very hard and very unsafe. Anyways, so yes, you can sleep train them when they're in your room. You just got to get a little bit creative, and it is possible. I mean, I've done it, so I know that it can be done. And yeah, so it's possible, and I do recommend that way. If your little one's 6 months, that you can do it in your room if you want. It's easiest and best to do it if they're in their own separate room, in their own bed. That is the best way to sleep train. But of course, every parent has their own preference. Sometimes parents don't have enough space for a little one to have their own room, and they have no other choice but to have them in their crib in the parents' room, and that's fine. Like I said, you can still sleep train by all means, having them in your room. Just got to get a little bit creative. It's a little tricky, but honestly, it is very doable, and you can get it done. So, anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Short one today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more like this, you can join my group called Sleep Little One. The link is in the description box. I give weekly tips and advice to exhausted parents like yourself who need help, and maybe they don't really feel like paying for a sleep consultant. Maybe it's not that bad. They don't really need a sleep consultant. They just want some tips from an expert. I am obviously a certified pediatric sleep consultant. So I also offer one-on-one personalized plans if you're looking more for a sleep consultant. So you can check out my website, sleeplittleone.org. It's also in the description box if you'd like to look at plans or just check me out and see how you feel about it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.